Well, good evening everyone, and welcome to the second Robert Burns Coffee Time podcast. Now these podcasts they're really meant for the members who are new to Burns. If you know Burns quite well, you might find these quite boring. However, even if you know Burns well, we do have some music which will be spreading out in the podcasts from some of our members. Some great Burns tunes. So it's worthwhile tuning in for those alone. Now, the first podcast was obviously the Airdrie Burns Club, the Airdrie Supper. And I felt that went quite well. I got good feedback for it. However, I want to start teaching people about Burns now. But before I start, if you could just excuse my voice, I've got a wee problem with my throat just now, and it's affecting the way I'm talking. So I hope you can understand me clearly. However, let's get started. We're going to be starting at the beginning. We're going to be talking about Burns' father, and that's William Burness. Now, William was born on the 11th of November 1721. He was the father of the poet Robert Burns. William was born at Cloughnhill Farm, which is in Dunnottar, Kincardineshire. Now, originally, he apprenticed as a gardener at Inverugie Castle, Aberdeenshire, before moving to Ayrshire, where he became a tenant farmer. His parents were Robert Burns and Isabella Keith. He retained the spelling Burns or Burness throughout his life. However, Robert was later to change that to the favoured Ayrshire spelling of the word. He had three brothers. George died young. James and Robert survived into adulthood. Now, most of the biographies you read will tell you that William received a basic education that exceeded that of most boys of his time. He was very competent in the 3 R's, and that's not reduce, reuse and recycle in William's case. This was reading, writing and arithmetic. He was also said to have displayed a very neat hand, so he was a very well educated and talented scribe as well. Now, the Burns family, this is William's father and mother, were said to have Jacobite sympathies. This was illustrated in the fact that William thought it necessary to get a certificate from 3 Kincardineshire landlords, testifying that he was, in inverted commas, a very well inclined lad. Now, we'll get into this subject on another podcast at another date. It's evident from a lot of Burns' work that this Jacobite sympathy was definitely installed into his upbringing by his father and possibly his mother as well. Now, at this time, Edinburgh was known to have a demand for gardeners, and William Burns took the opportunity to go there. He spent the next 2 years landscaping for Sir Thomas Hope, part of his work being in Hope Park, later known as the Meadows, which you can still go and visit in Edinburgh to this day. He next found employment in Ayrshire, working first for the Laird of Fairlie in 1750 and later moving to Carrick. He was a good worker and received a certificate of good character from the Session Clerk and Ministers of Dundonald. In 1754 he was employed by the Crawfords of Doonside for a period of 2 years, lodging at Doonside Mill, and it was there he began saving for his future and for the future of his family soon to be. Okay, we're going to stop now just for a wee break, and the next thing on the agenda is we're going to be hearing from one of Rabbie's House members, Kevin Thompson. Now, Kevin Thompson is an all-rounder when it comes to folk music. He just doesn't sing Burns numbers. He sings all types of folk music and some contemporary music as well. He has his own Facebook page called The Songs of Burns, and there is a wee link at the beginning to take you to that Facebook page if you want to hear more. But we will be using Kevin in a lot of the podcasts that we're doing because he's got so much material. So first up, Kevin's going to be giving us his rendition of A Man's a Man. Now, this song is sung at nearly every Burns supper I've went to. In fact, I don't think I can recall a Burns supper where it wasn't sung. The poem, quite simply, endorses equality in a nation and rallies against social injustices. It's as relevant now as in Burns's time. Burns was not high enough social class to be able to vote, and so he used his writing desk as a ballot box instead. Take away, Kevin.
Is there for honest poverty that hangs a seed of that? Coward slave we passing by, there be poor for that and all that, the toils obscure and all that. Rank is but the guinea stamp, the man's the gold for all that. But though on Mayday fair we dine, we're hungry and all that. He fills our silks and lays their wine, the man's a man for all that. For all that and all that, their tinsel show and all that. The honest man, the works he poor, is king of men for all that. You see on Bucky, God the Lord was struts and stairs and all that. The hunters worship at his word, he's Bannacuff for all that. For all that and all that is a ribbon star and all that. The man who independence mind, he looks and laughs and all that. Prince can mark a belted knight, a mark his duke, and all that. An honest man's upon his might, get pity more for that. For all that and all that, their dignities and all that, the pith of sense and pride of worth for higher rank and all that. And let us pray and come as may, as common will for all that, and send some watch for all the earth shall bear the creed for all that. For all that and all that it's coming yet. For all that the panting man, for all Lord shall brothers be. For all that and all that, it's coming yet. For all that the panting man, for all Lord shall brothers be. For all that.
Now William was determined to set up as a nurseryman, so leased from Dr. Alexander Campbell a year, 7.5 acres of land at Alloway. And it was here that he began building a home, or as Burns himself was later to call it, the old clay biggin. William preferred the name he had given it, which was New Gardens. And so it begins. Unable to make a living in this way alone, or possibly seeing it as a better option, he obtained in the summer and autumn of 1757 a position as head gardener and overseer at Doonholm, the estate of a retired London doctor whose name was Provost William Ferguson of Ayr. Now as this overseer for 2 years, William was fully employed, and he had the responsibility for laying out parks and gardens, planting of avenues and trees, construction of roads, replanning of farms on the various lands that had been purchased to become the Doonholm estate. In 1775 and 1776, Ayr Town Council awarded him the contract for laying out the new Greenfield Avenue, and it was this work that provided him with the funds to purchase the aforementioned few from Dr. Alexander Campbell of Bellisle. Now let's talk a wee bit more about William. He was a tall, shy and reserved man, and he began building a 2-room cottage on the nursery land at Alloway in 1757. It was at this time he began courting a girl at Alloway Mill, apparently composing a letter proposing marriage, but he was later to tear that up upon meeting, when he was 36, Agnes Brune at a Maypole fair in 1756. Agnes, who was later to become Burns's mother, was a lively 24-year-old, 11 years his junior, a beautiful red-headed woman with brown eyes, who it said had a fiery temper. But we'll hear more about Agnes in the next podcast. On the 15th of December 1757, William married Agnes, a farmer's daughter who hailed from Craigington in Kirkoswald parish, South Ayrshire. They would remain together for 26 years until his death. Robert was their first child, born on the 25th of January 1759, followed by Gilbert in 1760, Agnes in 1762, Annabel in 1764, William in 1767, John in 1769, and Isabella in 1771. He was a busy man. By 1765, the Alloway cottage had become too small, and William approached Provost Ferguson with a view to leasing another farm, Mount Oliphant, 2 miles away. The Provost Ferguson allowed him a 12-year lease on this, with the option of a break at 6 years. He also loaned him £100 to buy stock. William had been, in addition, briefly employed by the council to collect information about residents for a census that they were holding. This is another very little known fact about him. Towards the end of the Mount Oliphant lease period, Ferguson died, and William fell behind in his rent. The exchanges over these arrears with the factor were alarming to William and the rest of the family. But the debts were settled amicably by the estate taking a mortgage on the Alloway cottage, leaving William free at the end of his lease in 1777 to move to Lochleigh. It was a time of great agricultural improvements, and for 4 years all went well. However, William then fell into arrears with his rent whilst farming and improving Lochleigh, and his landlord David McClure of Shawwood put 2 legal petitions before the Sheriff of Ayrshire over alleged arrears of rent. McClure himself was in financial difficulties. William Burns eventually won his appeal to the Court of Sessions on the 27th of January 1784. Paid the balance of the rent which had been set against his own expenses in liming, fencing and erecting new buildings. All this fighting was to eventually put too great a strain on William, and the stress of it all eventually was the instrumental factor in his death. Upon his deathbed at Lochleigh Farm, William said he feared for the good conduct of one of his family. One of the last things he said. When asked what he meant by this, he told Robert that he was referring to him. The Williams doctor cited physical consumption and exhaustion as the cause of death, which occurred on the 13th of February 1784, which I believe was also a Friday. Certainly unlucky for William. William was buried in the abandoned Alloway Kirk, which he had helped to preserve, despite dying in the parish of Turbolton. His present headstone is the 3rd headstone. The previous 2 have been chipped away by souvenir hunters. Well, that's us for today, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. And see you next time, when we will be looking at Robert's mother in greater detail, Agnes Brune. Now remember, these podcasts are not going to be very long. They're wee short podcasts, as I say, intermingled with a couple of Burns tunes from some of our guest members of Rabbie's House. So I will see you possibly next week. Okay, have a great day, folks. Go and finish your coffee. We're going to get Kevin to finish off the podcast now with another great song of Burns's called Now Westland Winds. This is one of my favourite songs, I have to be honest. Burns wrote this song in 1775 when he was a 16-year-old schoolboy studying mathematics at Kirkoswald. An incredible thing for a man to do at that age, or should we say a boy. The song spans the themes of nature, love and humanity. It protests man's dominion over the environment and marvels at the beauty and peace that can be found in nature. I was a 16-year-old able to come up with lyrics like this. Absolutely incredible. As I said, it's one of my favourite songs. So take it away, Kevin. And have a great day, folks. Bye for now.
Now whistling winds and slaughtering guns bring autumn's pleasant weather, and the moorcock springs onward and wings among blooming air. Now weaving green and white o'er the plain delights the weary farmer, and the moon shines bright when I rode at night to muse upon my charm. The partridge loves the fruitful fells, the plover loves the mountains, moorcock haunts the lonely dell, the soaring herd of fountains. Through lofty groves, the cushat grows, the path of man to shunny, the hazel bush o'erhangs the thrush, the spreading thorn, the linnet. Every kind of pleasure find, the savage and the tender, some social join and needs combine, some solitary wonder. Avant away the cruel sway, tyrannic man's dominion, the spokesman's joy, the muttering cry, the fluttering go weeping. But Peggy dear, the evening's clear, thick flies the skimming swallow, and the sky is blue, the fields in view, both fading green and yellow. Come, let us stray our gladsome way and view the charms of nature, the rustling corn, the fruited thorn, and every happy creature. We'll gently walk and sweetly talk till the silent moon shines clear. I'll grasp thy waist and fondly pressed swear how I love thee, dear. Up for no showers, the budding flowers, not autumn to the former, so dear can be as thou to me, my fair, my lovely child.